After sitting abandoned in a shed for 17 years and being worked on for 3 months, will this abandoned Prelude finally drive? Will it finally be able to soar and stretch its wings? Well, I guess you just need to keep watching, won't you? With the interior cleaned and depurified, it was important that the exterior got the same love and attention. With more fade than a hipster barber, this exterior needed some love. And as the vehicle was going on historic registration, there was a chance that the vehicle would need to be inspected. So it was time to bust out the orbital polisher and Maguire's cutting compound and get to work.
Comfortably
Whilst the paint was far from perfect and it showed its life as a country vehicle, it was faring a lot better, and it looked like there was some life left in that paint. Whilst I waited for the registration to come through, I had a few things to fix up. Once again, I kept flushing the cooling system to get rid of all the old rust and grime. System sorted, the car was now at least able to run for some time without overheating. And it's here the signs of its mechanical gremlins are starting to show. He had what they called a bouncing or hunting idle. Essentially, the engine RPM can't figure out where it needs to sit on idle, so it bounces up and down. And the throttle was also sticking. So on acceleration, the throttle would actually stay open for a second, even though it was depressed. These are usually symptoms of air in the cooling system. It's a pretty easy fix. You essentially just bleed the valve, but I had already done that. So it was on to the next thing. I had a feeling there was a fair bit of carbon buildup inside the intake, so it was time to give it a clean and see if that fixed it. Purchased some upper engine cleaner with the hopes that that would help release all the old carbon that was in there. Essentially, spray it into the intake, the engine will try to struggle as it clears it through the system. You need to maintain a constant RPM, otherwise the engine will just die. However, to my absolute surprise, it honestly did nothing. I was quite stumped for a while. But after doing some research, I realized it could be the fast idler control. Now it appears all my issues are relating to too much air in the system. So it makes sense that the idler control is just letting too much into the system. Its job is to regulate air on cold starts. It lets more in so the car can idle higher, warming it up, and then when it's at temperature, allowing less air into the system so it doesn't need to idle as high. But they're usually a plastic valve, and over time they get a bit worn. So it's as simply as tightening the valve to allow it to close properly.
Still a little smoky, but not as bad as it was.
The car was running absolutely fantastic at this point. I couldn't have been happier. We were so close to being on the road. I could taste it. Another mystery of this car is the hood wouldn't close. It was never closed since I had it. And if we were going for a drive whilst we weren't going at very fast speeds, I didn't want to tempt it and have that thing fly up at us. But no matter how hard I pushed, it would not close. I tried using some old Handyman's Delight WD-40 to loosen it, but that wasn't the issue. It was catching it, but it just wasn't enough give. After a bit of playing around, I realized you could actually move the mechanism up. Obviously, if it hadn't been used in such a long time, things may have just slightly moved a little. So by adjusting it up, it closed first time. No problems. There was only one problem that remained. The cooling fans were not coming on. So whilst the car would hold temperature for some time, as the system got hotter and hotter, it wasn't able to adequately cool the coolant that was in the system. I was able to test the fan by hand, and it did turn. So our problem lied within the system. I started with the sensor, as that was the most obvious place. They're a pretty basic circuit. When they're cold, continuity isn't allowed, but then when they heat up, the valve opens, allowing for continuity. Now you can simply test this sensor by removing it and placing it in hot water. Place a multimeter in it. If no continuity shows and while it's cold or warm, then that sensor is probably dead, just like mine was. So we now knew where the issue was. I wasn't able to order one in time, so I simply just bridged the circuit and waited for the new part. The fans will run endlessly, but at this point, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And of course, when the sensor comes, I'll just put that in and they'll be good to go. And like fate, I received some documents in the mail. Is it that time? I think so. Got the paperwork, did it this morning. Yeah, I'm not going to show you that, you can't see that, but it's registered. We're going to drive respectfully and not do any front wheel drive skiddies. So with the old girl running really well, it was time that we actually get it out on the road and drive it. But there's just one little issue. Just barely issue, but I can't drive a manual. Come back here. Come on. Don't you leave me now. Now, it's embarrassing, granted, but I bought the car with the intention of learning, and that's the beauty of it. This car didn't cost that much, so if I blow it up, I'd only hurt my pride. I would feel more comfortable with a more experienced driver, so I got a friend to come give me a hand, and don't worry, I'll be driving it soon enough. Anyway, so let's go for a drive. Rolling. I mean, it's its first drive in 17 years. How does it feel?
It needs wheel alignment.
Oh, it's getting the beans. Oh, that sound in the back is really disheartening, isn't it?
And car actually crashed.
Well, don't tell me that while you're in my car.
I ran out of brakes.
You gave me a shitty car. What do you expect?
Literally, the pedal went to the floor.
Now I need. Mate, we've got. Look, we're clearing some of the rust out. You reckon?
It's not.
It wasn't doing it yesterday after I fixed the idle thing. I'm going to start pricing up a head gasket anyway. I really don't want to do that. 25? Oh, mate, she's good. Just send it. Oh, 8 PSI. Oh, no dear. Yeah, boy. I have a sneaking suspicion it will drive a lot nicer now.
The wheel alignment might not be needed.
Yeah, when you have one side on 20 and then the other on 8, I feel like that offsets it a fair bit. Oh no, it feels better. We should take it out to the track and race it now.
Now?
Yeah, right now.
I think it's ready, yeah. What could possibly go wrong?
Send it, mate. You don't respect the rules of sending it. If it runs...
This engine's good. This engine is good.
You reckon?
Yeah, it's smooth. Oh, it needs a wheel on it.
Yeah.
Pulls very quickly to the right.
Oh, that's the 4-wheel steer.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, right.
It's got 4-wheel steer.
Okay.
At full lock, the rears turn out as well.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
It feels weird being on the road with it. It's just been sitting in my driveway for so long with just half of it pulled apart. Oh, crunch. I don't think those shocks are too good.
Yeah, you could be the driver there.
Yeah, no, you're right. So the clutch is good.
Clutch feels good, yeah.
Oh, sweet. Made a bargain. You'd buy this from the high street though. You could. So your thoughts? What would you rate it out of 10?
Oh, 2.
2?
But potential? Potential, it's got enough.
We could get to a 3.
Hold on.
Oh, well.
Brakes work.
Yeah. Didn't like it though. The bearing's been had. Look, let's be real. There's nothing much in this car that is having a good time right now. Except us, we're having a fucking ball of a time. Die, you piece of shit! Just die already.
No, not while I don't want to.
No, okay, yeah. Okay, we'll die just down on my street.
Yeah,
then we'll just nudge it with the Lexus. I wish I had a fast car enough to terrorize a neighborhood. It makes lots of noise, but it doesn't go fast.
I think it is suffering from sitting for many years. That's all it seems to be suffering from.
I'm shocked it's driving, to be honest. I thought something would have seized. I mean, at this point, it's not doing too well, but it is driving.
The expensive bits, the engine and gearbox, at the moment,
Are holding. She's a beaut. Oh, gotta be happy with that. Who would have thought a bloody $1,800 marketplace vegan would turn out to actually drive? But it goes to show you that sometimes you just have to give it the beans. Now, it's so weird considering how much time and effort has gone into this car. Since I've owned it, it's basically just been sitting here with its hood up, you know. Honestly, sitting in it was such a surreal experience. Something that I've been working on and cleaning, finally actually driving. It was an odd sensation, but to be honest, a pleasant one. But it's nice to know that it's actually not a piece of junk, because honestly, if that test drive didn't go very well, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. I put so much time and effort and money into parts for this car that really, I couldn't afford a major issue. If the gearbox had died or if the engine had blown up, you gotta call it quits somewhere. That drive was either where I commit or I just take the L and get out. But thankfully, we don't have to worry about that, because she's a beaut. This now ends a chapter for this car's life, but opens a new one. I'm so excited. This car is screaming for life. It sat abandoned in a shed for 17 years. I knew the second we started driving it, whilst it did suffer from quite a few issues related to that, it wants to drive. It's missed being on the road, and I'm happy to get it back there. So we're gonna keep working on it. We're gonna get this thing all cleaned up, and we're gonna give this car the love and attention that it deserves. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Now, if you excuse me, I've got some lowered springs to put in. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I've had a lot of fun making these kind of videos, so much so that I actually started up another YouTube channel reviewing old technology. I've got heaps of it, and it's all lying around, so I thought I might actually do something with it, so I thought I might review it. So if that sounds like something that floats your boat, you like those old Nokia brick phones, then definitely check it out, because I think you might find something of interest. In any case, you have yourself a lovely day, and we'll see you next time for another video. Ta-ta! Go away. Go.